On a point of order, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move that the Council adjourns in condemnation of the blockade of Wandsworth Bridge by activists from Insulate Britain and in condemnation of all forms of direct action against London's transport system.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder?
I second that, Mr. Mayor.
How long do you wish the Council to adjourn for?
11 seconds in recognition of the 11 arrests.
Thank you. Please speak to introduce your motion.
Thank you. As members will know, last Monday, activists from a group called Insulate Britain sat in a road to block Wandsworth Bridge. They stopped people from getting to work. They stopped people from getting to Chelsea and Westminster Hospital. They refused to move. They refused to move even when they were asked by the crew of an ambulance. And the roads around the bridge were gridlocked and polluted. And this was all because that group of activists have a moral superiority complex, you might say, that made them decide they were above the law. But they didn't get that idea from nowhere. The concept of direct action has been growing and becoming an increasingly insidious part of public life. And the anger that we saw from members of the public on the bridge was entirely understandable, as was their frustration that some of them felt they needed to take the law into their own hands, given the disregard for the law being shown by the protesters. Because this was an action against the public, against civil society, and against the rule of law. And no one who has been democratically elected should defend that kind of behaviour. In our democracy, even civil disobedience, I would argue, is not a valid approach given the alternatives available. But at least the history of civil disobedience is in relation to the law in question. This had nothing to do, the law being broken had nothing to do with what the protesters were concerned about. It was nothing of the kind. What took place on Wandsworth Bridge was self-indulgent and a morally vacuous publicity stunt. And to get a sense of the ethical nature of Insulate Britain, you can take a listen to its official spokesperson, Liam Norton, who was asked this week why he didn't insulate his own home, and replied, "Because I'm a hypocrite." And then added, quite remarkably, "I don't particularly care about insulation." But he has nothing on the movement's leading light, one Roger Hallam. Mr. Hallam was asked whether he would continue to sit in the road in front of an ambulance when someone would potentially die. His answer was a casual yeah. And with the depressing but familiar attitude on those of the radical left, Mr. Hallam is also on the record describing the Holocaust as an almost normal event. Mr. Hallam is the founder of Extinction Rebellion. The same Extinction Rebellion that has been using its police station support network to support those activists from Insulate Britain who have been blocking our roads. The same Extinction Rebellion that Councillor Walker has repeatedly thanked and described as love and kindness. The same Extinction Rebellion that advocates direct action. The same direct action that has been backed by Councillor Rigby. In fact, the same Extinction Rebellion whose protest the Member of Parliament for Putney joined at the Natural History Museum, where she spent her time rolling around on the floor. Now, we understand that you wish to purport yourselves as a serious administration in waiting. So perhaps I was imagining all of those events. Perhaps I was suffering from the false consciousness of what Councillor Dickerdem has described this week on social media as late capitalism. But the reality is that you cannot behave in that way and be taken seriously by residents in this borough. These are serious matters. This was serious disruption, illegal disruption. And you have a choice tonight, and I hope you make the right one. You have an opportunity to join with us to condemn Insulate Britain and condemn this direct action against our transport network. The residents and the businesses of this borough have the protection of the law. They have the support of every Conservative, and I hope belatedly tonight they will have the support of every councillor in this chamber.
Sorry?
11 seconds, we just have to count.
The 11 seconds of the adjournment is now finished. Thank you. I'd like to move on to...
On a point of order, Mr Mayor.
Point of order? Yeah. Councillor Belton.
I thought it was usual for people to be able to stand up and defend their position when they've been named in a debate. I didn't want to push it during the actual adjournment because I knew what you'd rule. But surely those named, and I can remember Councillor Dickerton, Councillor Rigby, and I think there was one other, Walker, surely they have a right to reply, having been so named. If not, when, as we will get this evening, no doubt hundreds of times, Conservative councillors saying that they've been quoted, I expect the same treatment. In which case, we'll all be able to talk about each other at will and say all sorts of things undefended. So please, do they have the right?
Mr Mayor, on a point of order, on a point of order, Mr Mayor, I think surely the issue here...
Point of order. Can we have a decision on my point of order before we have another one?
I am complimenting your point of order, Councillor Belton. As someone who's been in this chamber for a considerable amount of time, and I think even has something to do with drawing up the standing orders in their current form, you'll know that to make a point of personal explanation, you have to get to your feet and ask to make a point of personal information, which no one did. As it happened, I would happily give
point
away
of order, Mr.
to
Mayor.
members.
Sorry, can we just do with one point of order at a time, please?
Point of order 16. Members who make a point of order have to quote the number of the point of order that they are making. Thank you.
Thank you. I am going to allow personal explanations from short explanations. I'm going to start off with Councillor Rigby.
Oh, thank you. Do I need to stand up for this? Yeah, okay, that's good. Okay, so you mentioned, I support the release of James Brown, who's currently in Wandsworth Prison, the gold medal winner of the Paralympics for his protest against climate disruption. No, but you referred to me. He was direct action and he's in prison. He's in Wandsworth Prison right now tonight. He won a gold medal for this country and he's in a cell in Wandsworth Prison. And he got a year in prison.
Thank you, Councillor Rigby.
The man who crushed a child to death while he was texting got 6 months. It's a disgrace that he's in Wandsworth for a year.
Thank you. Can I have Councillor Dickerdam, a word of explanation from Councillor Dickerdam? I think you raised a point.
I mean, where to even begin? I'll stand up. Yeah, I think I was quoted as using the term late capitalism in a tweet about the huge queues outside of my house because of the petrol shortage that's taking place, something that is blocking up our roads even more than activists out on the streets. So I just thought I'd leave my point there.
Thank you. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I was complained about for talking about peace and love. Was that right? Or peace and kindness? I want to say that this is more than that. This is our climate. This is our children's lives. They're breathing in and dying. And I do think that we need to take this seriously all around the chamber.
Thank you. You've made your point. Thank you.